Hi, I'm Mitchell,
I'm Daniele.
and welcome to the By Design Podcast, a podcast dedicated to game design, mechanics, principles, and how developers can use those to enrich their gameplay and stories. Our main topic today is E3 2018. We're going to start off with EA. What do you expect from the EA conference, Daniele?
Well, I expect them to show, of course, Battlefield 5, and a bunch of announcements. I just hope they don't lose too much time with the weird stuff they do at their conferences usually, like the celebrities, soccer celebrities. I know you Americans call it soccer, and talking about sports. I mean, that it's great that they get to have so many important people over there, but I think people don't really care too much about that kind of stuff. So yeah, they should maybe reduce that to, I don't know, 5 minutes show off of sports games. The people who tune in for seeing E3 conferences are usually more interested in quote unquote hardcore games.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I think that they're going to try to hone in Battlefield 5 and how it's going to be. They're going to use a lot of terms like for the player, and for the player, we're listening, we're basically it's just a big overall policy. Yeah, they're going to try to use all terms, try to get us to be excited for it. They're going to screw it up somehow, just like they did with Battlefront 2. You know, they're saying, just like they did with Battlefront 2, we're not explaining with the fan base, the DLC is free, but then no season pass, and they had the single player and all that stuff, but as we got closer to launch, kind of all fell apart. So, so with they're doing the same thing they're doing with Battlefront 2, and they're saying they're not going to split up the player base, and they're gonna keep everyone together with free DLC. They may have something good at the beginning, but they're gonna mess it up somehow so we get closer to launch. There's bound to be something just like there was with Battlefront 2. Yeah, with the whole new aesthetic change, I mean, it's still a game. It's not a history lesson. If the cosmetics don't really affect the game all that much, then I'm fine. Yeah, they're also probably gonna the new DLC for Battlefront 2, the solo one. They're probably gonna try out a lot more stuff too with this new update, and trying to overhaul, fix the game too from what it was at launch. Even though they've done a lot of fixing, they're gonna try to change it to become better.
I honestly hope they do. I still have one of my friends, only one of them, playing Battlefront 2. And I always joke with him. I tell him he's the only player left online. But really, it's a shame that a game that was so hyped revealed itself to be so little. I mean, and with all that monetization schemes, it all fell apart really quickly, and we all seen that. Another game I almost forgot about EA is Anthem.
Oh yeah.
That is gonna be interesting.
It's been announced for EA. EA announced that they're pushing their date to March or around that area due to try to avoid the they EA said that they're pushing the date of Anthem to 2019 because they don't want to release it in a black hole that is Red Dead Redemption 2. Don't release it when it can be on its own and make its own amount of money without trying to compete with the giant of Rockstar's new IP, of Rockstar's new game. And with Anthem, it's kind of funny because EA is also releasing Battlefield 5 in October, and the same with and the same with Activision releasing Call of Duty in the same time frame. So they have these two huge franchises trying to compete with each other, but also trying to compete with the new Red Dead Redemption. I don't know why even him try to compete with him. Yeah, and the more I hear about the game and the creative hands changing and the staff leaving and the 10 years plans, and even with the last few games, they were kind of very lackluster, and they really need to prove themselves with this next game because they're going to be shut down if they don't prove themselves at all. And I don't want them to be shut down. I just want them to succeed, but this they may be end up getting shut down if this next project is not successful.
Yeah, they have to this time. I mean, I mean, both BioWare and EA both have to prove themselves this time on many levels. They have to make this right. Otherwise, it's gonna be big trouble for them. I mean, people are gonna completely lose their trust in EA if they haven't already.
Yeah, but the thing is, yeah, you go to r/gaming and it starts out with rage from a game that came in, and everyone wants to boycott EA, and then EA releases a new trailer.
Mm.
Well, this is so cool. And then some other people are like, wait, don't pre-order, and then everyone pre-orders, so they get the game, they're disappointed,
Well,
and then they get angry again, and they just repeat. Yeah, and so it's like this group of people that just
yeah,
buy
but I
EA
think
games
this can go on only for
yeah, but
so
it's
much.
been going on for 10 years. Yeah, and they've really done nothing about it. Yeah, people have been saying the same thing about FIFA, Madden, and all the sports franchises. And they said they're going to boycott if you don't do this, but they still buy it anyway.
FIFA is.
If they don't.
I think FIFA games in Europe at least, they are played by a very I don't know how to say that, a very singular kind of gamers. I mean, my friends who play FIFA, they don't play anything else.
Yeah, we have that in the U.S. like kind of like the casual market. They'll pick up your Destinies, your Call of Duties, your FIFAs, and they'll buy a new console just to play those the new FIFA or the Madden.
Yeah.
It's quite bizarre in my opinion because I always saw games that you're really into or you're kind of not in it.
So that,
and I guess these are the middle ground for the in between hardcore and casual market. Yeah. 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 Well, yeah, it's a very you know, you can have your micro games for like visuals and stuff, but Star Wars has a very specific demographic. which is a lot of young boys and young girls, and they're trying to get in this very young market, get a very impressionable market, and there's these kids. They had the I need Darth Vader, I need Luke. And they're trying to trick all these young kids and try to get them in and paying all this money. And the industry has a term for it. They call them whales. You know, I read an article a few months prior to Battlefront 2, and it was talking about how it was a mobile developer, and they're talking about how they say that they only need about like 5 to 10% of their entire fan base that pay on it, and they you wheel them in because they spend like thousands of dollars a month on your product. It's that 5 to 10% that it almost makes the entire majority of their income, which is quite strange. So I don't think they'll go anytime soon because people are still buying them. Otherwise, why wouldn't they continue it if people are still buying them? People are still buying it. People are still buying the games. So it doesn't really matter, and nothing's really gonna change.
I think something will change. I mean, we've seen legislators moving in Europe at least, and things are starting to move. And if they are banned from Europe, it's easier for them to resort to something else rather than trying to push loot boxes for the US only, or I don't know,
Yeah.
making two different games basically. Yeah, we'll see. Oh well.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think that's enough to be said about that topic. Let's move on to the next one, which is Microsoft. I think Microsoft is really just gonna, you know, it's a lot of third-party games.
So you mean first party?
Yeah. Single-player stuff? Not single-player. First-party stuff? I don't know. They really haven't anything announced, and Jason Schreier said in an article that Crackdown 3 got delayed too, so it looks like the Xbox, yeah, it's been delayed a few times now, but I think that they're taking the quote from Shigeru Miyamoto very liberally, and he said, "A delayed game is eventually good, well, like bad game is bad, rush game is bad forever." I think it was just talking about developers trying to rush out their games and not talking about a developer that can't create the game. You know what I mean? Or, they don't have competent management, or their team isn't competent. First party, another Forza. Hopefully something new and surprising.
Yeah.
They have the best console on the market, but they don't have anything really for it or to show off the power besides, third party. I'm not trying to rag on Microsoft and Xbox, but it's just very disappointing in its lack of exclusives.
Well, they have the most powerful console on the market. They have to show value. They have to show that when you buy an Xbox One X, you don't only have a very powerful box, a dust collector. They have to show us PlayStation gamers a reason to be at least interested in eventually buying an Xbox One.
Yeah, I don't think they're trying to convince the people that play PlayStation. Yeah, they can base their own fan base that their console's worth it, because right now they haven't really produce any exclusives for the game. For the console, they don't really. They have to prove it now that they're competent with making games, or it's really going to impact their sales for the next generation. They've only hit, I think, around 40 million, but and the PS4 has gotten over 70, and the Switch is
they haven't
really
officially disclosed. They haven't officially disclosed their sales figures for a while.
I think it's just the estimated,
which is telling in its own.
Something like 25 to 30 million. And the Switch is getting really up there with the console sales. I think it just surpassed. It's going to surpass about 20 million this month, and when I
Mm-hmm.
last checked, it was 17 million. So it's probably gone up a couple by now. Um, I just don't know. I just don't know. They don't really have anything up their sleeve. I don't think. All the third
Mm.
party stuff that's not going to be announced in Sony's or in the Nintendos, that is in the big publishers, is probably going to go through Microsoft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I hope they delivered
Yeah.
this time. They said this press conference is gonna be the biggest one they ever had,
Wasn't
something
that the
like
last
that,
one?
something along those lines. No, I think it's this. I think I've heard them saying that about this one. So yeah, I'm hopeful because good competition
Yeah.
is good.
Competition is any form is great because it pushes the developers. The Sony's only competition right now is its own developers trying to compete on
Yeah.
the market for the number one slot, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
ironic. Yeah, so that's all we have
Yeah.
to say about Xbox. So let's go to Bethesda. So they have the new Fallout game. I think that's probably going to release to mixed
Yeah.
reception, and they're probably going to talk about how they love single player and the players. And this will be kind of a spin-off, trying to bring the community
Mm-hmm.
together. And I wouldn't be really surprised if it wasn't $60.
Mm.
It's using the same assets, using the same engine. I don't really expect it to be. From what I heard, it doesn't really sound
Mm.
like it's a $60 game. So it's more like a $30,
Uh-huh.
$40 game. And it's more about the playing to the fans because the fans are more into single player, deeper single player games, and that's what Bethesda's going to be about. And that's what they said at the Game Awards, where they're saying they care about the
Mm.
player. With
Here I am.
Skyrim's, and with Fallout, and
Yeah.
Evil Within, Wolfenstein 2.
Maybe a new Elder Scrolls. That's what I hope. But it's pretty
What about
unlikely
Starfield?
as far as the rumors go. Yeah, or Starfield. Yeah. So yeah, Fallout 76. That's for sure. That's gonna be shown. They're gonna explain what the game is essentially because they haven't yet. So based on the rumors, we could say it's a multiplayer
Yeah.
game. Base building is a core element, and cooperation maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Uh,
Actually, you know what? I'm really excited for, and it's from Bethesda. The sequel to Rage. Yeah, that looks insane. Have you seen the trailer for it?
oh yeah,
It
I've
looks
seen it.
like it's like, a mix between like Maxim, Avalanche, and ID Software. So the world sign of of an Jersey Avalanche games kind of style, blowing up stuff, zipping up plane, flying everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
putting jet engine on a cow. And ID is really great software with
Mm-hmm.
Rage 1 had a lot of great gameplay, but
Mm.
Doom kind of got their kind of gameplay and how it feels really good. And I'm really hoping that they fix it with this game. The overall some of the biggest issues with it, and it kind of looks like a mix between Doom
Hmm.
and this may sound like a bad thing, and I mean it in the best way possible, Destiny, but just the gameplay of the warlocks kind of ability of
Mm.
abilities and gliding and teleporting and stuff. And so looks like they play a little bit similar to Destiny.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was probably gonna take the best part, Destiny, which is the gameplay, and the awesome world design of an Avalanche game.
Uh huh.
I feel like they could really make a solid game. Because the first one was okay, but it missed too many marks to become a great game. It was just mediocre. And this one seems to possibly open world. It looks very interesting, and I wanna, once more
Mm-hmm.
information comes out for it, I'll pick it up. Yeah. Any other E3 predictions for Bethesda?
No, not really. I don't think so because their conferences are not too long. They do a deep dive in their games, and they show 2 or 3 things at a time. So I don't think it will
Yeah.
be overwhelmed with content. Games. They need games. They need many, many, many games. I mean, Nintendo has lost their fans' trust last generation with Wii U, as you said, and they've shown so far they're doing great with the Switch. I mean, really great.
Yeah.
But they gotta keep doing it. Otherwise, people are gonna say, "Oh well, it was just 1 or 2 years of good Nintendo time, and now it's back to normal." They gotta show they radically changed, and they get the games to do it. I mean, Nintendo owns tons of IPs, and I mean really tons of IPs. They could make 100 games a year and still not run out of IPs. And then we have some games that were already announced that people are waiting to see, like the Pokemon RPG and Metroid Prime 4. These are the two titles that pops up in my head.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they could.
Pokemon.
I mean they could show it. I'm talking about the new one, like the 3DS like one.
Yeah, the Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu.
No, that one is that was already shown.
Are you talking about
the Pokemon
traditional RPGs?
Yeah.
They're not gonna announce it next E3. Actually, it's targeted for holiday 2019, so it's not gonna come out till then.
Yeah. I mean, well, they could show something, I think. But anyways, and Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4. They gotta show that one, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm wondering how long it's been in development for, because let's say, they probably started developing the Switch around midway around Wii U's lifespan, or even a year after the Switch. The Switch started a year after Wii U sales went down. Because if they started Mario Odyssey around the same time that they kind of started developing the console, and the game's being developed by Bandai Namco, which isn't a bad thing, because it's not the first time they've done the gameplay for a Met game, because Team Ninja, worked on the gameplay for Other M, so. But for Bandai Namco is doing the gameplay for this one.
Okay.
I'm honestly expecting a few things. More details on the online service, Super Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah, Smash Brothers. That's gonna be there.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
A release date, a demo, and big old stuff for that. No more information on the new Pokemon games. A mix between Pokemon and Pokemon Go. the new Fire Emblem and stuff. I don't know. Because they've already announced so much already, Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta show they have a good pace, as I said, and they're not stopping that.
They've been showing it. They've had a good stream of games. First year or so, they had, so many titles.
Yeah, well, they had a good year, a good couple of years so far.
That's about it for Nintendo. We got the biggest boy. Sony.
So
then they have their big games.
So yeah, we got Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man, and Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah. All really solid games.
Yeah, and deep dives in each one of those games, as I recall.
Yeah.
So, Death Stranding, of course.
Yeah.
We've talked about that for a long time. Yeah.
We used to talk a lot about this training on a previous show. What do you expect from it? From the deep dive on stage?
So
gameplay announcements or whatever.
I expect it to start with a trailer. And then Kojima and some of his staff walking on stage with a controller showing gameplay. And while they play, Kojima explaining how the game works, how the basic mechanics work, and I was being blown away.
What about do you think we're gonna release date or a release window?
I would say a release window for sure. A release date, maybe.
When do you think
I
they'll
mean,
release window? Maybe.
I'm sticking to what I always said is early 2019, like March 2019, something like that.
Spring or just early 2019 general first
Mm,
cap. But wait, that doesn't really make any sense anymore because of
mm.
Days Gone's coming out in February, and so that's gonna be competing because they're both very similar games.
Well, Days Gone is coming out in February.
If they release Death Stranding around even March, that would really conflict with the sales, but they would have to go
Yeah,
at least
but
spring
still,
if they
we've
want to
seen
release next
God
year.
of War coming out on the 20th of April, and Detroit Become Human coming out on 25th of May. So they both sold quite well, I think.
They're both sold quite well, but they're different
Yeah,
market, but very one of them is a very narrative, decision based game. And one's more about open world combat, based game.
mm,
But with this,
yeah,
these will be
okay.
two new IPs in the early 2019 realm, open world narrative driven games. That's going to be a lot of competition between the two.
Okay, so maybe it's gonna be like late April, early May,
Yeah,
that window.
it could even come out at Christmas. Instead of Spider-Man in September for the late summer release, for November fall release, they would have Death Stranding.
I don't know if they have enough time to
Yeah,
finish
we'll
it,
definitely see.
but yeah, that would be even more awesome.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, I know Kojima doesn't publish games that
Yeah.
are unfinished. So if he says it's ready for Christmas, I'll believe him, and I know we'll get a great game at Christmas.
Let's move on to the other titles like Spider-Man, but there's not really
Yeah,
much to
Spider-Man.
predict. I just really want to get my hands on it because we've already really seen a lot,
Yeah,
and
me
we
too.
already know a lot about it. So I just want to get my hands on it. Because with the last generation, I love that Spider-Man game, Spider-Man 2. I didn't really care for the story or the missions. That wasn't really my main focus in the game. Main job for me is just running around New York City, slinging around, and just going around
Yeah.
for hours, just doing nothing. And it looks like they really honed in on making you feel like Spider-Man and making it run across buildings and swing everywhere. But my biggest concern is that they're focusing a very similar combat system and gameplay to Arkham, and I want like every superhero game to have the same combat system, because then they all morph into the same kind of games.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping they put a twist on it, at all. Make it different, because if I'm playing a Batman game, I'd rather play a Batman game. But I'm still excited for it. But there's not really much to say because they've already released.
I really liked what I saw about the new Spider-Man, and yeah, we've had a great movie in my opinion, which is Spider-Man: Homecoming. What was it last year? So yeah, I mean, Spider-Man is really on a roll as a character. So I really hope Insomniac does their work well.
Yeah, I really hope they do well because they're trying to do the high school stuff rather than the trilogies like Adult Life. I'm really looking forward to what they're gonna do with it. So it's just what we're gonna see.
Yeah, I think it'll be the shortest of the four titles to be displayed because it's the one we saw. We already saw gameplay. We already saw. We already got a glimpse of the story, the villain, and stuff like that. While for the other titles, we have more vague things.
I feel like the only thing they're gonna do is show the open world and how the world will look and how it will kind of play out. Yeah, but that's much to talk about that topic. But Ghost of Tsushima looks very interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like it's maybe stealth style. I was gonna say be a ghost.
Yeah, maybe tension
learn the way of the ghost. Very quiet, very silent creatures. Yeah, you have to relearn. You have to relearn what you learn because samurai are very brute force. And the way of the ninja was very stealth, very silent. Because they, it's because it was more poor people trying to overthrow the shogun, which they didn't
Hmm.
like, and so they would just do that because they didn't have the same amount of weapons, so they would
Hmm.
have to rely on silence.
I thought the ghost thing was about him being like the last one alive of his comrades or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be focused on becoming the new samurai because there's the term you're the ghost of your former
Hmm.
self. So I feel like because maybe you have to relearn how to fight to
Hmm.
defeat the Mongol. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks very stylistically beautiful. Doesn't look realistic. It
Yeah.
has good graphics, but it's very stylistic lighting. You know, because within a couple of years, these graphics are gonna look bad, and stylistic lasts for decades.
Yeah.
Look at SNES games, the ones that are trying to be realistic. They're like a garbage day. Well, Zelda: A Link to the Past was very stylistic, and it looks beautiful today. So I think stylistic
Yeah.
over realistic
Yeah, you're right.
lighting and design.
Mm-hmm.
And what looks like this game's really focusing on that, which I really like. I really like stylistic visually. But they also said there's gonna be open world. How do you feel about that open world? Do you think it's be good or bad? Because there's already been open world
I don't
games
know.
before.
I mean, many people want open world. Um, they want every game to be open to do whatever you want. Otherwise, you feel like you're on a binary. But I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I loved The Last of Us and the Uncharted series, and they're very linear games.
Yeah.
I even liked Final Fantasy 13, which was criticized by many for being too linear at the beginning. But I liked it because it was, I mean, the linearity was a tool
Yeah.
for the story. So you didn't have to have an open world game at all
Yeah.
costs. I mean, if the cost is telling your story badly, then don't do an open
Yeah.
world, please.
I'm not really worried about story.
That's what I think.
Is my biggest thing is I just hate it when they try to be open world for the sake of being open world, and it really suffers in the gameplay.
Mm,
Because I love stories in games.
mm,
I read books, I watch movies, the songs, play games. I love a good story, but honestly, some of my favorite games don't have stories at all, or barely any. I really hope the gameplay
mm,
good, feels good to be in the world, to explore it, to
mm,
play in it. It doesn't feel like a chore or a checklist to play in the world.
mm-hmm.
Even with Horizon Zero Dawn, and you just have a checklist of things to do, places to go. Look at that; it's marked on your map already, and it's very lazy. And I don't really there's not a lot of innovation. There's no really way to explore your game.
Okay.
I want to explore the world, but they don't let me. I don't want to look at a map the whole time. I want to see something in the distance and that looks interesting and go there and find something. You know, you know, say that you're on a meadow and you see a giant tower erected on a mountain. Ooh, dude, I'm gonna go to that, and you just go to it and you find something cool, maybe a quest, maybe an item. I don't know. Reward the player for exploration.
Yeah.
Don't tell the player where they're supposed to explore, because that's not exploration. That's following a line. I want to go on an adventure, not follow a treasure map. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it can make it more like Breath of the Wild, to just allow you to explore at your own pace, do what you want, and have the open-ended, open world
Mm-hmm.
gameplay should be, and that's what an open world game should be, to explore. Because otherwise, it just becomes a big loading screen for just things to do in it.
Sure.
Yeah, that's there's very small predictions on what the open world would be.
Yeah.
And I really hope at least for the story, I really hope they focus on the villain. Where he goes on. He said like,
Yeah.
"While you were sharpening your sword, and training, I was training which city to pillage and which ones to convert. Now I ask you once again, samurai,
Mm-hmm.
do you surrender?" Is that what he said?
Do you surrender?
Even though it's in English, it's still amazing delivery, and I feel like there's gonna be a really good villain. I like villains
Yeah.
more than heroes because heroes can only fit in a certain template, Well, villains can be very dynamic, very interesting, and you can always good to dissect their motivations and
Mm-hmm.
ideologies. So yeah, that's about for Tsushima. Unless you have any other predictions or thoughts.
We haven't said anything about The Last of Us Part 2.
No, no, I'm just with Tsushima.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Last of Us Part Two. Do you like the first Last of Us?
Yeah. I mean, first time I hated it because I hated the ending. I'm not gonna spoil it here, but
Yeah,
the ending of the first Last of Us can be a bit controversial.
yeah,
And it spawned many discussions between me and a friend of mine, for example.
yeah.
And I was so mad at that game. I had it on a PS3. Um, as soon as I finished it, I took off the disc from the console, put it back on the box, and sold the game at the GameStop.
For $3 whole.
Yeah, something like that.
So sorry, I misspoke. I meant 30 cents. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, they gave me $3 and I didn't know what to do with them because dollars are not accepted here.
Use euros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kidding.
I was gonna. They said that they're gonna focus on with Last of Us Two, on Ellie this time rather than Joel.
Yeah.
It's not Last of Us 2, it's part 2.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's the same story narrative, not like a
Which
continuation, but like
which
the split of
I
a
think
story.
I think it almost automatically implies there will be part 3.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think it's not a part 3, but more along the lines of the Harry Potters or the Hunger Games, where they just split the last one into
Okay.
split into two different parts because they couldn't tell it in one movie. I feel like this is the same story, but they two different parts. It's not a. It's a continuation of finishing the story. What happened to the Fireflies? What did the Fireflies do? What did the government do? Did the government find out? Are they hunting down Ellie and all that stuff?
Mm.
I'm kind of hoping. Did you play the new Uncharted: The Lost Legacy?
Yeah, I did.
So you know that one level in the middle where you get into a big area and you have to unlock all the 4 levers to unlock the big door?
Yeah.
I love that part. It wasn't. It was linear still, but it was open ended. I love open ended linear gameplay. It's my favorite.
Mm.
You have a goal. How you reach that goal? It's up to you. It's my favorite when developers do that. Yeah, since being directed by Neil Druckmann, who did Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy. Yeah, I really hope there's just open-ended parts in it. Maybe a big part where you have to get parts for something, and you have to explore this big area for it. Or you have to get parts for a car, and you just explore this big area. I really hope they get the deeper crafting system, and the combat system has a little bit more depth to it, because if you strip away the good story, it's a pretty weak combat system. And with Uncharted 4, its gameplay got a lot better with the road mechanics and the sliding and running around, going in and out of cover, stealth. And I really hope that this one they kind of nail the gameplay. It kind of felt, the combat kind of felt tacked on to become a game. I didn't really feel that deep. I feel like if they really focused on the gameplay as much as they did on the narrative, I feel like this could be a lot better than it could be as great as the first one, or even exceed where the first one, laid out already.
Okay. Well, I liked the first one. In the end, I bought it again on the PS4, and I finished it again, and the second time I liked it much more. But gameplay-wise, I always loved it. I mean, it felt solid. You could tell it was the same studio that did the Uncharted series.
Yeah.
But it made sense. I mean, there were very little ammunitions around the world, but you got just the right amount to keep you going. You know, you didn't have to waste bullets, but you always had some.
There's some way to finish the task without without using bullets. You know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure about that, but I'm not that good of a gamer.
Yeah. My problem is that it's very bland, very very boring. The gameplay was fine, but there's nothing that made it distinct than any other games on the market at the time.
Okay.
Same combat system as Uncharted, slightly different things with world items and less ammo and more focus on less cover based, more stealth based.
Yeah.
That's okay, but I feel like that they could have done a lot better with a lot of the gameplay and the gameplay systems, especially showing with Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, especially. It was very they got that tight gameplay that was probably my favorite Uncharted gameplay wise. Narrative wise, like was Uncharted 2, but gameplay wise,
Hmm.
it's the best Uncharted. Especially with the open ended gameplay
Mm-hmm.
in it. I really hope they hone in and focus on how
Yeah.
to not really reinvent it, but kind of reimagine it and try to make it give variety, make every encounter
Yeah.
fresh, feeling unique for every encounter.
Hmm.
But that's a gameplay wise. What do you think narrative wise?
Uh. Hmm. That's just anybody's guess. I mean, I was one of those who thought Joel was dead.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. We'll see about that. I don't. I don't want to think about that too much because I'm afraid of spoiling it.
Most of the time, speculation never comes true, but it's still fun to kind of theorize. Do you think the woman in the third trailer, the one who was being hung, that was she may have been Ellie's mom?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Do you feel like the villain in that one,
Mm,
she's like saying festering side? I think she could have been known this small group of people that are able to resist the like not being infected by the spores.
that is interesting.
She's like tired, cold, where
Mm,
they're in charge and they're in charge. I mean, just religious thing. They're unclean. That the spores stored them inside them, so it prevents them from really being infected. Yeah, she wants to live in a world where she's on top and
mm,
she's the tyrannical leader and she has control of everything, and she's like the leader of this
mm,
new world that she's envisioning. Instilling fear into all the people. It'd be the biggest fear besides
mm.
the clickers and the zombies. Yeah. Maybe Ellie finds out that what happened to her mom. Like maybe
Yeah.
she died after she gave birth, and maybe she's like seeking revenge, and that's why she wants to kill them. Maybe she's fighting Firefly, and also, and the government finds out, and so they're fighting a war like all sides. Take down this group, fighting Ellie, like past enemies, and try to invade the government from trying to get her and try to dissect her and try to figure out how she's able to
Hmm.
survive. Maybe it's like a war on all
Yeah,
fronts.
that would be
What do you
interesting.
think?
But yeah, I haven't thought too much about that. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. When do you think it'll come out?
Maybe even holiday 2018.
That's what. That's what's supposed to do. Holiday 2018.
Yeah, might be possible. Or that, or 1 year later, 2019. Depends because
It's been
there's
announced.
not a lot of with Naughty Dog games. You don't have too many information on what the team is doing at a certain time. Well, for example, with Kojima, he tweets all the time, so you kind of know how the game is shaping up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be near complete or very far away,
Yeah.
but I know it's playable.
Yeah.
I've read somewhere it's already
Because
playable.
Uncharted 4 got delayed.
Yeah.
I got delayed like before on the PS4, but I think it got delayed twice. It was announced.
I'm not sure.
2013, And then I think the official game announcement, like showing trailer and footage, was 2014, about May, and then it came out about 2 years later. I think that's what happened.
Okay, it was delayed 2 times.
Oh yeah, okay, so it was.
The first time was from like early March to April 26th, and then from April 26th to May 10th.
Yeah. So
that was it.
So Last of Us got announced in 2013. Well, no, it didn't get announced.
And The Last of Us was delayed as well.
And then
by
got
a month.
Another trailer in 2012, and then was
one.
released in 2013. So they're doing that 2-year lifespan. Like they announced 2 years prior to the game being released. So if the game was announced 2017.
It was announced in 2016, I think, or not. I'm sorry, no, I'm getting confused. Probably.
Yeah. Sorry, The Last of Us announced in December. Holiday 2019 seems very possible.
Okay.
Yeah, go see Tsushima. We never mentioned the what release date is gonna be. What do you think?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Again, we only got a trailer so far, and from the trailer you can tell how far in development the game is because it's CG, and just a couple of seconds of gameplay maybe at the end. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't have many elements to be able to tell, but I don't know. Infamous Second Son came out in 2014, maybe. Am I right? Okay, 2013. Then it was they had a pretty long time to make it.
March 14th, so about 6 months after the PS4 launch.
Okay, then maybe they got enough time. They already had enough time to make the new game and complete it, and they just wanted to announce it like 1 year before the release. I don't know. We'll see about that.
Here's my theory. Sony has the whole focus on 4 games, so they're gonna release 1 game per season. So what they're gonna do? So they're gonna release Spider-Man in the fall, Last of Us or Death Stranding in the winter holiday season. Have Days Gone in the beginning of the year, Death Stranding or Last of Us Part 2 in the early spring, and then Ghost of Tsushima in the late summer. September. Kind of be the last title on the PS4. Because I think they're going to announce the next PlayStation at E3 2019. That would make more sense. That's my
Makes
predictions.
sense, actually.
1 game per season. I feel like, I don't know what about Death Stranding. That one's kind of up in the air. Well, when he said that it come out before when a year takes place, what do you think it'll take a fiscal year 2018? Yeah. It releases in like April or whenever their fiscal year ends.
I don't know. I have no idea. We'll see about that because
I'm hoping for some smaller announcements. Because we had a lot of games last year.
They're not gonna announce new first-party games at the conference, but they're making a new announcement this afternoon. So
because they won't announce a new game until they announce a new console, and they're not announcing any new games which they've been doing for years. It's kind of suspicious. So they won't announce it this year, but I feel like next year would be very plausible.
Maybe at the end of next year, yeah.
The PS4, a few more years. Yeah, the end of next year.
At the PSX,
PlayStation 5. I wonder what they'll call it, the PlayStation X or the...
I hope not.
PlayStation, whatever. I really don't like PlayStation's weird names. Yeah, that's our predictions. Well, that does it for this episode. You can follow the show on Twitter at by_design_show. And you can follow Daniele and I at AHYTYS and Mitchell L. Virgil, respectively. Subscribe and ding the bell to know when the next episode airs, and we'll see you then. And remember, every element of a game is made by design.